And you can be held accountable if your products end up in the hands of bad actors. David, what's CYA?
Consider your audience.
Consider your audience. Cover your ass. That's a tell. That could be a money launderer. So it's something to be monitoring here. As you're doing your diligence, the best way to do diligence is go meet people in person, talk with them, do your diligence, get a reference. Before we open up any new market, we try and get a good understanding on who we're working with. And we've had tons of issues here. We learned the hard way here at Grovara about doing business with the wrong people. We had people who do things and we had no clue. How could we? We had an organization that was from South America. Organization was buying coconut milk, of all things. They would buy coconut milk and 2 containers of coconut milk. Big account, about $85,000 order of coconut milk comes in. We're all excited. It's going to South America. It's going to go to the supermarkets in South America. We'd ship them 2 containers of coconut milk, and then we'd get a reorder. And then next thing we know, we find out that they were using, it was a money laundering front. They were using our coconut milk as a front to take money that was dirty and make it clean. Now, how are they doing this? They were doing this by basically taking these containers, having them in their warehouse, and then they would have, 2 containers, 40 foot, that's 40 pallets, 20 in each truck, right? And they would take 1 pallet and they would put it into 1 container. So they would ship 40 containers with 1 pallet in each, but on the paper, on the manifest, it said that the containers were full. So they're paying, they're paying for 2 containers. They're using these 2 containers of inventory, putting it into 40 containers, 40 tractor trailers. And on paper, these tractor trailers are full and they're shipping them. And the buyers in South America are sending the money in for 40 containers, right? And in actuality, they're really just getting 2 containers, but they're paying off someone at customs or at the border or something, and the money, is getting cleaned, right? Because it's going from being used, wherever it was sourced from, and now it's being converted and washed into essentially air, because they were shipping 1 pallet and then a full 40 foot with room for 19 more pallets of just space. But on paper, the manifest said it was full. However, they were getting it through customs clearance in South America, through the foreign port. They were doing it, and this was their cycle. And here we are, not knowing any different. We're just up here. You want 2 containers? Great. And then maybe they had like a couple of those pallets would go be on the supermarket shelves, and then maybe they would send us some pictures of the product on the shelves. And we had no clue. Now, there were some telltale signs. How can you know you're dealing with a money launderer? A couple things. If you go tour their factory or tour their warehouse, your buyer, let's say you get an order in and you go tour their facility, and their facility is mainly empty. Most likely, that's a tell. That could be a money launderer. Why? Because on paper, they got their warehouses full. But in actuality, it's air. So you got to be careful of that. People in the art space too, if they talk about, they're big art dealers or art collectors. Art is a great way to wash money, right? So be careful with that. A couple other things you want to look at is if you haven't vetted them out with the U.S. Commercial Service, the Commerce Department, the Foreign Agricultural Service. There are so many public assistance programs that your tax dollars are supporting. Check them out. If you enjoyed this podcast, check us out on YouTube, LinkedIn, or subscribe on Spotify or Apple. Like, comment, subscribe, and always go global here at Grovara.